Well, what do you know? A Fox News alert. We're awaiting the possible sentencing of Paul Manafort. The latest is coming up. But first, so while you're hard at work, what are the Dems up to? Arguing over whether they should condemn anti-Semitism. What a strange place to be, debating how to condemn hate. Yet for weeks, they've been dancing around Ilhan Omar's repeated anti-Semitism. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, miscast as the adult in this comedy, pushed a resolution condemning the slurs. But bowing to the hard-left newbies, she's dancing again.
It is one resolution addressing these forms of hatred, not mentioning her name because it's not about her. I do not believe that she understood the full weight of the words. I feel confident that her words were not based on any anti-Semitic attitude, but that she didn't have a full appreciation of how they landed on other people, where these words have a history and a cultural impact that may have been unknown to her.
Oh, so she's just ignorant. So now they're revamping the whole thing, not mentioning Omar by name, but including all persecuted people. This is how far the Democrats have fallen. They can't even agree to remind people that they don't hate the Jews. Seems pretty easy to me. But here's my favorite argument against the resolution, that condemning hate puts the hater in harm's way. Kamala Harris says, I'm concerned that the spotlight being put on Congressman Omar may put her at risk. Sorry, Senator, the spotlight is what Omar craves. The spotlight is the whole point. Besides, when the Smollett hoax took off, did anyone worry about putting Trump supporters in danger? When people said red hats were racist, did anyone care that it put targets on innocent heads? Did anyone care at all when actual harm was done? These are trick questions because the answer is obviously no. So a radical leftist dog whistles away about Jews, and the fear is that criticism of anti-Semitism might put her in harm's way. There are roughly 100,000 Holocaust survivors still living who managed to escape the Nazis. I wonder how they feel about that. So, Jesse, I guess it's weird now that if they're worried that if you criticize anti-Semitism, somebody else could get hurt from, I guess, enraged Jews. So now we have to worry about Jews assaulting her. Right. Is that the case? I don't understand this.
Listen, you're able to criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Omar apparently is unable or unwilling to do that because she's been warned a few times. But this is really all about Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi has gotten off to such a bad start as Speaker. She came in, the stock market goes down, they shut down the government, the Green New Deal's been a disaster, they've suffered nationally from a blackface controversy, and now they're suffering through an anti-Semitic controversy. The bottom line is this: Nancy Pelosi does not want to alienate these radical freshmen because she fears them, because they have so much juice. They have the grassroots, they have the youth, they have the social media, and these people don't want to take a loss. They believe they're infallible, and they're self-righteous, and they don't want to play defense. They want to go on full-throated offense against this president, and they don't want any blue dog Dems crossing over to the other side. So Nancy Pelosi has lost control, and that's why they're watering this down. It's like John Boehner and the Tea Party couldn't handle him, and he had a huge headache to deal with, and that's what you're seeing right here.
So they got the juice, which allows them to bash the Jews.
Very good.
Dana, this resolution doesn't name Omar by name, so it's, but instead they're every persecuted group.
No, it's all hate matters.
All hate matters. I mean, so now we have to come out and say, okay, hate's bad. Just hate's bad across the board.
Yeah, it's very clumsy. I think the Democrats are embarrassed by it. I think they probably wish they never would have gone down this road for this resolution because of what the fissures that it's exposed, and now because it's being considered pretty much a joke. Who doesn't? Yes, all hate matters, all lives matter. Like we all get that. This seems to me like it's a point of the Democratic Party where you have to kind of wonder also what the Catholic Church doesn't really have that much say, right, anymore, right, because of all of their problems institutionally and the credibility problems. Now you have American Jews who have typically voted for Democrats, right, really having to make this decision about, do we continue to support this party if they can't even say that anti-Semitism is bad? And I disagree with what Nancy Pelosi said there, that it's not about her, meaning Congresswoman Omar, because this initially started like 6 weeks ago when she first got sworn in. And if they would have nipped it in the bud then, they wouldn't be having this problem now.
You know, can I just say something? Remember when Nancy came in and they said Nancy was going to cut off people's heads? They weren't even going to realize they were bleeding?
Yeah.
Now Nancy is bleeding. She hasn't been able to execute that.
You know, Jedediah, Omar is getting some very strong support from David Duke, who says that she's the most...
Does she condemn David Duke? Does she condemn David Duke?
I have no idea, but he claims that Omar is the most important member of Congress.
It's amazing that she doesn't take heat from that, though. You're right. You're right. She doesn't take heat for that somehow. If that had happened, you know, and it did happen, I think, to President Trump, and he took a lot of heat from that.
Peter Doocy should ask her.
It's so amazing, though. The dumb hurts. I mean, for Nancy Pelosi to come out and say, oh, it's not about, you know, Omar. Of course it is. And it would benefit you to say that it is about her, because now people are asking, well, who is it about? Is it about all of you, that you all felt that you needed to come out and make this vague, odd commentary about this, when in fact all of the language in it, if you look, points exactly to the comments that Omar made. You're talking about dual allegiance. So, and it also shows a refusal on their part when someone of their own rank does something outrageous, like makes an anti-Semitic comment. They're refusing to hold that person accountable. All the people in the middle of the country, it may make the base happy, the AOC lovers, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, but there's a whole bunch of people in the center of the country that look at this and say, why did the Democratic Party feel the need to do this? Are people confused? Do they think the Democratic Party is representative of hate? And it's a huge problem. So I think they better get there. Nancy Pelosi better get them in line. She's been there a long time. She's afraid of the newbies, and it shows.
Hey, Juan, as you can see, I should look this way. The voting is starting, even though I'm actually looking at Dana. The voting, look at the voting over there, Juan. Juan, why the obsession with Israel among the young people coming in here? Is this something that comes from academia? I want to understand it. Is it because they don't understand the language that they're using?
Yeah, I think in her case, she's unfamiliar with some of these anti-Semitic tropes. But to me, this is not the issue. I think they want to have honest conversations about American policy in the Middle East. And what they're running into is people saying, oh, you know what? She used these anti-Semitic tropes, and therefore we can ignore the larger topic. And I think when you have people like Ilhan Omar coming into the Congress, you know, we have the first two Muslim women, and suddenly their perspective on Palestinian human rights is introduced. People say, oh, wait, we haven't heard this before. That's no, let me finish.
No, hang on. I'm going to ask you, what is the larger topic? That's what I'm asking. The larger topic,
I already said, is U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East and with regard to Israel. So you get Bernie Sanders, who's Jewish, saying, don't equate anti-Semitism with legitimate criticism of the Netanyahu government in Israel. Elizabeth Warren, branding Israel the equivalent of anti-Semitism, criticism of Israel as anti-Semitism, is chilling in an American democracy. And here's J Street, a Jewish lobbying group. The biggest threat to the Jewish community is white nationalism on the right that Trump has unleashed both in the U.S. and globally. But what you get from Republicans is delight in this problem for Democrats, rather than saying, you know, when Trump says to a group of Jewish businessmen, oh, yeah, you want to buy your politicians and control them, or when Kevin McCarthy goes after Soros, Steyer, and Bloomberg as buying elections, we don't hear anything from the Republicans.
No, but Democrats expect Trump. Every time Trump says something they don't like, they expect Republicans to hold Trump accountable, the American people to hold Trump accountable. Now you have a woman who, whether she meant to talk about Israeli policy or not, her comments, it's all about the Benjamins. This is stuff that has been universally condemned. They now suddenly have a problem putting her in a resolution.
No,
so they're saying, oh, you should condemn your side.
They're
but when
condemning, excuse me, Jedediah, they're
condemning
anti-Semitism and
anti-Muslim
hatred.
Until they hold her accountable, guess what?
Nope,
she's being empowered. She's going to do this again and again.
If they are condemning hatred, why are Republicans having such trouble? Because Republicans aren't interested in condemning hatred. They're interested in condemning Democrats and Omar.
How are Republicans having trouble?
Well, they're saying, oh, no, don't do this. You got to really go after Omar. Wait a minute. That's why you see leading Democrats saying, is this about silencing legitimate criticism of Israel and absolutely smearing, which is what we saw in West Virginia with that poster?
No, you're deflecting on to talk about Republicans when this is a Democrat issue. And you didn't answer Greg's question. Greg specifically asked about U.S. foreign policy. Why is there an obsession with Israel? And you didn't answer.
I said it. It's about Israel.
Okay, but why
you don't say why.
Why is it about Israel? Why? Because they are the only. Hold on, let me finish. They're the only Democratic country in that region. They're our tightest ally. Their human rights record is so above and beyond Iran, Saudi Arabia. But I don't hear criticism of those countries. You only see criticism of Israel.
Are you kidding me? You think
has Omar spoken out about Iranian human rights abuses, Saudi human rights abuses?
Look,
I haven't heard her.
I'm thinking America speaks out about these issues all the time because their human rights record is so horrific. But you're absolutely ignoring Israel's record in terms of occupying West Bank territories, their treatment of Palestinians, and questions about a two-state solution, which had been American foreign policy.
I'm not ignoring it. I'm just not calling Israel evil. That's the only difference, Juan.
Okay, what a beginning.